Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I hope that you guys have watched the previous video, and your next move in the next business day is to call the local council and find out what it is you need to do to get on the list, providing you've been there for 5 years. But just call and find out. If you like the information you've been receiving so far, please press the like button. If you want to receive more of this information that I may have due to my experiences, please subscribe. I will be moving off finance real soon and showing you other things that I'm interested in and other things that I do. It's all entertainment and knowledge, just opening your eyes to a few things, okay? So you can live decent, you don't have to struggle. Now in this video, I'm going to tell you literally where you need to be in your life and when. It's like a basic guide. If you follow this basic guide, you will have the time and the energy, and hopefully when you get old, I'm talking about 60, 70, 80 and so on, you can look back and say you did it right. Okay, so if you are male, what you need to do upon completing college or high school, if you decide you want to go to university, you need to make your decision based on the salary you're going to make. I totally understand you might want to do something, but if you go into the research and find out they don't make that much money, it's probably not wise to take a loan and go for it. There are other avenues than university, but I still do recommend that you get a higher education, right? If you don't go to university, you have to make sure you read. Hence the book, or the 2 books I've showed you so far. I've got plenty more to show you. So between the ages of 21 and 30, once you've come out of university, finished your education, you will go into the working field. Yeah, in the beginning it's going to be a little tough, so people in your job, they may not pay you what you feel you deserve straight away, but it will come. It's due to the experience that you have. Okay, so don't worry about that. But your job between leaving school and 30, you must attain yourself a good job, a steady job, a car, hopefully investments, right? And you should be able to take care of yourself and have saved enough money in case shit happens. Some people will call that insurance. I call it in case shit happens, okay? So you need to be able, by the age of 30, to be able to not only take good care of yourself, but to be able to take care of a house and have a mode of transport. Now, how you get there is totally up to you. I'm not going to go through that. But by the age of 30, you need to make sure you have these things in place. From 30 to 35, you need to find yourself, if you want family, a wife. Your wife is not 30 or 35. Your wife is around about 27 if you're 35. Around about that age. Yeah? If you're 35, she's around 27. You will probably meet her between the ages of 23, meaning when you're 30, to 25. But around the 27 age is where your wife will be at 35. Once you have your home, your car, your job, These are the things that the females are looking for. You'll be able to provide this. Prior to 30, you're competing with everybody, trying to get stable, right? Because remember, women want stability and security. Stability being a steady job, security meaning a home, right? A lot of the modern females now, security means money. But you have a house and a job, you don't have to prove anything, okay? Once you have your marriage, your wife, the reason why you do this by 35 is because you want to start, depending on how many children you want to start having kids, right? Early enough to kick them out the house when they're 20, 21. Okay? So depending on how many children you want, also depends on when you should get married. Maybe slightly before 30 if you can get everything I mentioned by then, or just after 30. If you have your first kid at 30, best believe when you're 50, that's when that child is possibly going to leave the house. Okay? If you do it any later than that, your child will leave when you're really old. So if you want 2, 3 kids, you can start at 30. If you want, like myself, I want 5. So for me, it was best to start at 25, but unfortunately, it didn't work like that. Hence the reason why I'm giving you guys this video. Don't make the same mistakes I made, right? So, if by the age of 30, you've had your first child, and your last child you have by the age of 40, before or by the age of 60, your children will be free, independent to take care of themselves. Moreover, if you've done a good job, they'll be able to take care of you. When you're 60, your eldest child that you had at 30 would be 30. Your youngest child, if you have that at 40, would be 20. So during the time of 60 and old age, you and your wife can enjoy each other's time, presence. She's not having any more babies, so you don't need any more protection, right? You can travel overseas and you have less responsibility when your kids leave. So you guys can enjoy yourselves, take Viagra till the sun goes down, do whatever you have to do or whatever is on your bucket list together, right? So that is for you guys the structure of how you should live. Anything you want to do with yourself, you have to make sure you get it done by the age of 30. So you can find yourself a wife and start having children if you want a family. For females, it's slightly different. By all means, if you want to go to university, you can. By all means, if you want to get a job, you can. It is your choice. But I want you to pay attention to something. What's been happening over the past 20 years is the promotion of your independence. Now, prior to your independence, women would sometimes stay at home to look after the kids, meaning strangers weren't looking after the kids. Things that usually happen to kids that mess up their life in the long run didn't happen because the kids were taken care of by the parents. Unless, of course, one of the parents was really bad. Because of the algorithm on YouTube, there's certain words I don't want to use, but I'm pretty sure you guys can all figure it out. There was less of this going on because less strangers looked after kids. Nowadays, you have more parents who give their child to someone who, one, doesn't care morally about the kid. They're not talking to them about school and how school's going and who's bullying them and who's saying what. All they're doing is feeding your child and putting your child in front of the TV. The TV is raising your child. Other kids in school are raising your child. Society is raising your child. Right? So you need to make sure not only can you be there for your child, you can take care of your child, you can feed your child. In order to do this, before you leave home, you have to know how to feed yourself. It's all well and good going to the restaurants, but you'll spend a bag of money doing that. Unless, of course, you have a list of men that are doing that for you. But at a certain age, that stops. And if you don't break the habit now, you'll find yourself my age with no one, still not able to cook and take care of yourself. Right? You'll be eating takeouts and all sorts of nonsense. So saying that a woman should know how to cook is not necessarily stay in the kitchen. Someone needs to feed the kids. And to be honest, if I were a female, I carried a child for 9 months, went through all that pain, I would want to be the one sitting at home. I don't want to go to work and have my husband sit at home, if you understand what I'm trying to say here. I would want to be the one sitting at home and taking care of the kids because it's easier, right? If you noticed in the past, those who actually worked, which were the men, they died quicker. So working is actually killing yourself. The more years and stress you put on your body, the less years you will spend here. It's a fact, right? So you guys were placed in the perfect position, although back in the day, individuals didn't have the opportunities they have now, or they didn't think the way that they do now. So when a man passed, there was nothing to give over to the wife for her to take care of herself. She would then have to rely on the children who are successful, hopefully, to then take care of her. But in this day and age, where you can have your own makeup line, your own hair thing on Instagram or selling clothes, there's nothing wrong with being at home and starting one of those ventures off. We men are very logical. If you say to your husband, I'm looking to sell some makeup, it's going to cost this much, and you guys try it out, I bet you any money, the moment you start making money, he's going to push you to do better so that he can stop working. There is no negativity in working together. Working together, someone has to look after the kids, someone has to bring in the money. That's working together. Society now has branded marriage as if it were a slavery. A woman is beneath a man. And never that. We all love our mothers. How is it that you are beneath a man? Right? We love our mothers, we love our grandmothers. They were the ones who were always there for us. Daddy was never around because he was always working. Or if he were never around because he was, a rolling stone. But essentially, your position as a female in life is a favorable one. If everything goes to pot and London or England burns down, but there is a safe haven in France, for example, guess who they're going to take first? The females and the children. They're going to leave us to try and survive to the last. Okay, so you guys are in a much favorable position than we are. All you have to do is make sure you know how to take care of yourself. And if you can take care of yourself by ways of cooking, cleaning, the job is already done. You know now how to take care of kids, because a child doesn't really need much until they get to like 10, 11. You can cook the same amount of food for you and your husband and your child. and it won't cost you more money. Okay? By the age of 25, as a female, you need to know who your husband is. Since you were 13, tons of guys have been hollering at you. Ever since you were 18, even more guys are hollering at you. You need to make a firm decision and grab onto that guy, one guy that you believe is the right man for you. It's usually the person that is treating you right, and sometimes they're the boring one. The reason why I say the boring one is because men, when we are on a journey, we're boring. Those of us who have plans to do things rarely go out. We do a lot of overtime. We spend a lot of time researching and reading and trying many things out. It's a very boring life for the type of woman that lives today. You guys want to go out, go on holiday, spend this, spend that. If your boyfriend or your husband is spending money on you eating and doing frivolous things, how is it possible for him to grow, to allow both of you as a unit to grow? It's not possible. So the man who is boring, that's the guy that's focused on the future that will benefit you the most. The moment you make your decision, never think the grass is greener on the other side, because it isn't. You go from one guy to another guy. Moreover, the time that you go to the other guy, do you know what happens? You now start to accept more of the same thing you left the first guy for. I'll give you an example. Let's say that you dumped your boyfriend because he doesn't lift the seat. Instead of you trying to drill it into him to make sure that he knows that he needs to lift up the seat of the toilet because you sit down, and you leave that guy for another guy. The moment you notice that he doesn't lift up the seat, you won't even complain about it. You will just accept it as this is what guys do. And that's not the case. Right? The older you get, the more men you go out with, the more BS you end up accepting. It's a fact. If you don't get married by 25, by the time you get to 30, your preference of men will change drastically. You're no longer looking for this guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. Now you're looking for someone who's just normal. By the time you hit 40, a bum will do nicely. I guarantee you. You don't want to get to that position. What you want to do is get yourself married and start having children around 25 to 27. I know for some of you be like, oh, this is too young. But this is when your body snaps back after pregnancy. If you get pregnant at 25, you will lose that belly, none of that weight, if you manage the pregnancy right. If you get pregnant at 30, you can still lose that weight, but you will have to train or gym or not eat so much. But the weight does come on. As a female, the older you get, the more developed you get. The more alcohol and night outs that you guys have, the thicker you will be. If you're a female under the age of 25, I'm going to tell you one thing. Do not, under any circumstances, be insecure about your body parts. Trust me. The moment you hit 25, 26, everything will go pow and pow. Trust me. You don't need any sort of surgery. All you need to do is make sure you eat well and exercise. That butt will grow. That chest will grow. And if it doesn't grow to, I don't know, humongous size H or J, I've been with one of those before. If it doesn't grow to that, it's no matter. You will find a man that will absolutely love it. Okay? You need to make sure by the age of 25, like I said, you have your children. You start having your children, so by the age of 35, you can finish having children. If you finish having children by the age of 35, you will also be free at the age of 55 when your children are fully independent. Now tell me, when you're 55, do you think you can still enjoy yourself with your husband? Do you think it's possible now, with all that money that you guys used to spend on all these kids, that you now don't have to spend? Do you think it's possible to do a bucket list and go on holidays? You might even hit menopause, meaning you ain't getting pregnant no more. Yo, you guys can raw dog it all you like and enjoy yourselves up until the end. And hopefully, if you both do this, by the time a man is 60 and a woman is 55, you will enjoy, by the time you finish enjoying yourselves, you can now start to enjoy your grandchildren. If you do this at these ages, you may be able to see your great-grandchild. You see, life, like I said, is not complicated. We are the ones who complicate it with our desires and the things that we want and see on TV and social media. These things are not true all the time. You need to look at your own reflection and be happy with that. And then think to yourself, do I want a family? And if you do want a family, which you should have, because if you're old and you don't have a family, we all know what happens, right? You will pay social workers to come and look after you, and those people don't look after you properly. We already know. You would have to, if you don't pair up with someone and you don't have children, right? You may never receive unconditional love, and it's only your children that can give you that. No matter what you do, you're still mommy and daddy. To your partner or your husband or your wife, if you cheat, you're no longer husband. If you cheat, you're no longer wife, but your child is still your child. So now you understand what I mean by unconditional love. Only your child can give you that. If you want unconditional love from your partner, you would have to be with them for plenty of years. I'm talking 20, 30 years, where he or she will love you no matter what. If for any reason a woman hits 30 and she hasn't married and she's single without children, it is still possible to get yourself a husband. What you have to do is think back to when you was 22 and look at the age range that you was dating and stick to that. If you're 30, your husband is around about 45 to 52, give or take. If you're 35, it's to 55. If you're 40, it's to 60. They are the ones who will treat you the way you want to be treated. They are the ones who you will probably respect more. A man your age who is 30, he's looking at a younger female. And the reason being the amount of children that he wants. Most women over the age of 30 only want 2 kids. Most men that are 30 want more than 2 kids. So it's not logical for them to come for you unless they really only want 2 kids, which may end up being 1, given the situation of knowing each other and then have a child. By the age of 33, 34, you push out your first child, you might not want another one. So it's ideal for him not to pursue you. It's nothing personal. It's just logic. If you do these things at these steps, you will find that you will enjoy yourself the most. The reason why is when you have your kids, if you have them between the ages of 25 and 35, what will happen is you will have enough energy to play with these children, to raise these children. You don't want to be 40 having kids with no energy. And you don't want to be over 30 having too many kids where your body doesn't snap back and you become a big mama. Right? We love big mamas, by the way. They're actually the pillar of the community. But unfortunately, the last big mama I heard died in the early 2000s, late 1990s. I'm talking Big Mama's House kind of Big Mama. You know the movie Big Mama 2 by Martin Lawrence? That kind of Big Mama. The Big Mama that takes care of you, the grandkids, all of that. We don't have that anymore, and it's a shame. Right? Your life is actually better off as a female in this world today. You don't have to deal with the stress, and then you can be at home figuring out what else can be done to generate income, so you can both be independent, not of each other, but of the world. When two people join together, it's supposed to be you and your partner, you and your wife, you and your husband against the world. Nothing is supposed to come between that. If you focus on one clear goal together, they always say 2 heads are better than one. You will achieve this. The reason why the man goes to work and it's required that he comes home and eats food is because it is stressful. He's going under some stress. He's having to hit targets. He's trying to get promoted. He has to do more courses. Everything that you're doing right now, he has to do not only for himself, but for you and the children. This is stressful, right? And we're not even talking about arguments in the relationship and things like that. You know now, ladies, if you are working, that if you come home and the food is cooked and you're able to relax and you get a little back massage from your boyfriend when you're home after work, or whoever the heck is there, if you go do a chiropractor, let's say you're alone. If you came home and the house was warm, there was food ready for you, bath run for you, you'll be able to, one, sleep well, perform in the bed well, and go to work happier, able to deal with the stress, knowing the good thing that you have at home. This is the same that rings true for men. We don't want a slave. We want someone to support us. Someone to say, go to the doctors, you're back, and get it sorted. We want someone to say, drink some water today. We want someone to say, it's time for you to eat, because we are focused solely on work and whatever you need. We rarely think about ourselves. Another reason why we die quicker. You need to work together. If you're young and you're thinking about family, you need to start planning it out. Okay, by 25, I should be married. I should be married, or I know who I'm marrying. 27, done. I want only 3 kids. By 35, done. Your body will snap back. You can go to the gym, raise the children. When the last one gets to secondary school, high school age, you're free to do whatever you want. And you can start a business from home. We all know these businesses that's actually out right now. A lot of people will be more successful if they had the time to focus on it. What do you think you will have more of when all the kids have gone to school? Time. The fact that you're a housewife or you're a wife that stays at home, right? I don't like the term housewife. A wife who stays at home to take care of the most important thing, which is the home, doesn't mean you do nothing. It doesn't mean you're beneath the man. As a matter of fact, if you went into university, you can use your knowledge to make sure he creates something both of you can rely on without any external help. It's better for you guys to both go into business together, and so that your efforts are coming back to you 100-fold. It's very easy to start a business when your husband is working and you have the time to do the research, make the phone calls, go to wherever you need to go. It's not really that hard. If you don't plan, what will happen is this: you'll find yourself 30, 40, no husband, no kids, looking for anybody to father a child for you. Or you may end up deciding to live alone, buying a pet. This is not ideal for any human being, as we are meant to be in pairs. This world today around money is not ideal for any single person. You have to be a unit, a family unit, in order to move forward in this society. As a female, the world tells you that you have to compete with a man. The world tells you that you have to best a man. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Your greatest competition is not a man. It shouldn't be in your interest to compete with men. Your greatest competition is a younger woman. The woman that can take your man away and turn him into a husband before you can. You see, if you mess around before a certain age, you will have no choice but to deal with certain men. And if you don't deal with those men will find a solution. There is always another woman. Every year, women, over 100,000 females turn 25 in the country you live in. Talk less of the world. If you don't want to be part of a unit, which is a family, and head the household, no problem. Don't complain if no man wants that situation with you, because they can always find someone younger. For a female, it's quite a taboo sometimes to have someone younger, so you will be reluctant to go for someone younger, especially if you're older. No young man really wants to be with an old female unless he's young and she's still young enough to teach him some things. But guaranteed, when he gets to 30, he's looking at younger girls. When he gets to 40, he's looking at younger girls, unless you marry him. The ideal thing is to find your husband in college, university. But a lot of people will say that's too young. So you will find yourself playing the game of dating, when really and truly dating doesn't really benefit you. If you focus on one guy, you can, and you communicate properly, both of you can give you all that you desire. There's nothing out there. Females who tell you, oh, it's independence, yeah, I'm making my own money, yeah, I've got this, that, and the other. They don't tell you how often they sleep cold alone at night. They don't do that. They tell you all the good things, but they don't tell you how hard it is to find someone to pair up with. They don't tell you the fact that they're looking at being alone for the rest of their life whilst they're talking nonsense about, I'm a boss chick. No, you're an adult. You're supposed to pay your bills by yourself. You ain't supposed to be using men, right? You're supposed to be using your husband. But if you ain't got one, then you're responsible for everything that you have. So, if you follow this guide, hopefully, when you get to 25, between 25 and 27, you're already with your husband. He'll be at the age of 30 to 35 to 40, being able to provide everything you desire. And those of you men who are in your 20s, if you're 27, your wife is probably 17 or 19. Trust me, you don't need to be talking to her before she's 18, because you'll get arrested. And if she's able to take care of herself in the home without going here and there, wife it. If you guys are going in the same direction, it's always good to have a support system. You as the head of the family, and she is the spine. Both are very important, right? But the spine supports the head and say, hey, go that way or go that way. That is the whole premise of marriage. To be one body, but to have one person who's the head, because two heads in one body just it's weird, right? You won't function. Someone has to be the body and someone has to be the head. The head is very important, but it's useless without the body, and vice versa. It's not a competition, people. Life is very easy.